Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another video. I'm here today with my friend Justin. Say what's up, Justin.
What's up? What's up, guys?
And we are going to start a new series today on kind of a wish list of new legends for MLB The Show 22. And we're going to go by division. So today, as you guys are watching this, we're going to do the AL Central. And probably later this week, you will see the NL Central video, which we will also be recording today. So I'm not going to change my shirt, spoiler alert, as I rhyme like I'm Dr. Seuss. So we're going to go by division. So AL Central, NL Central, then probably AL and NL East, and then the West. Now, here are some rules we're going to go by. We're going to spend a couple of minutes, maybe 2 or 3 per team. Some teams are just more interesting than other teams. I'm so sorry, Milwaukee Brewer fans. But some teams just have more people to pick from than other people. We are not going to spend a ton of time on the obvious people, i.e., like Barry Bonds or Pete Rose. In the NL Central would be an example. So that's kind of what we're doing today. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Leave a comment down below. Who would you like to see in the AL Central that we didn't mention? I should also mention we're getting to the point in MLB The Show, me and Justin were talking about this, that there's not a lot of players left that are like must-haves, in my opinion, in the game that like really move the needle. Would you agree with that, Justin?
I absolutely agree. I mean, there's so many guys now that they're all in the game. So there's a couple that I've gotten that are going way back. But again, none of these are first ballot Hall of Famers that you say, okay, we need to have in the game. There's a couple, but yeah, I mean, a lot of them are gone. They're already in the game, so it's going to be hard to choose.
Yeah, we're running out of legends that are not like in the game or in prison. So it's tough. This will probably be one of the last years people are able to do this kind of video. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the Chicago White Sox. And I have a list here on my phone I'm going to read from. And then, Justin, you can pop in with any afterwards. I thought Shoeless Joe Jackson would be a good one. I'm not sure that he will ever be in the game, but that'd be a cool one just to have. Carlton Fisk, I believe, would be another interesting one. Who did you come up with?
Yeah, so for me, I said Eddie Collins at second base. I mean, you look at his Hall of Fame numbers. He had a 333 batting average, 3,300 hits, 47 home runs. So he's not necessarily the power guy, but 1,300 RBIs, so decent in the clutch in his career. But 745 stolen bases. He's that kind of perfect contact and speed guy at second base that a lot of these Diamond Dynasty players love. Obviously, for me, I'm more of a franchise gamer. So with second baseman, I love a guy who can run, a guy who can field. And I think Eddie Collins did just that, especially during his era from 1915 to 1926 with the White Sox. I mean, I think he's a pretty solid addition. But one guy I would love to use in the game just because he's the last legal spitballer ever in the history of baseball is Red Faber. I would assume he would probably be a relief pitcher because he was more of a relief pitcher in his career rather than a starter. But 254 and 213 career record, 315 ERA, so not the greatest, but still not bad either. Good, solid enough to be in the Hall of Fame, obviously.
Oh, what kind of pitch would we like implement instead of a spitball? Like, what would the selection be as you're like standing on the mound virtually?
Well, see, that's the thing. The reason why I want Red Faber in the game is I want that spitball back in the game.
That
I think they need to make an exception, especially with how Road to the Show is going to continue to grow, and you're going to be the two-way player, especially with Shohei Ohtani
mm,
on the cover this year. You should be able to throw a lot of different things. We need the spitball back, but if not, I would probably say a splitter would probably be the base.
yeah, that's probably maybe like a variation of a splitter. I'm actually
Yeah.
so I did not come up with Eddie Collins. My big one was Carlton Fisk, but looking at Eddie Collins, this feels like the just a nightmare player to go to go up against, dude. Like all kinds of contact. I guess he'd be comparable to like a second baseman version of Lou Brock.
But he's a left-handed. I believe he's a left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, and you can never have enough left-handed bats in the show. So I think he's a pretty good addition.
He is. He had one intentional walk at some point in his career, by the way, in 1929. So I don't know who walked him, but that was the only one.
I think he led the league in stolen bases in 1929 as well, if my Wikipedia serves me right.
He led it in 1924, looks like.
24. Yeah, 24.
23. But he had 81 stolen bases in 1910. My lord.
I think that's 99 speed right there.
My big one of my big things I complain about, and if you've been around the stream at all the last couple of years, you'll know, is we need more catchers that are like good and usable, because there's just not. You always wind up using someone behind the plate who's like his secondary is catcher. So like Kyle Schwarber was a real popular one last year. The one I want from the White Sox is Carlton Fisk. Now you can think of him as a Red Sox. I'm kind of think of him more as a White Sox. I guess he split time there, as you guys can see there with my cursor. 13 years in Chicago, 11 with Boston. But we need more catchers, I think. He had a Rookie of the Year award. That would have been pretty good. He was always pretty okay offensively, and I don't know. It would be an interesting one. I really want more catchers, man. Let's do the Indians. Cleveland. Cleveland Naps, Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland Indians, however you want to say that. Why don't you go ahead and lead this off?
All right. Well, for me, when I was going through each and every single one of these teams, I tried to get one position player and one pitcher that I don't think had been in the game, or if they had been in the game, it's been a while since they've appeared. So we'll go with the controversial one first. I'll take Albert Bell, the left fielder, 295 batting average, 381 home runs, 1239 RBIs. And I think he gets back in solely because he's the fourth player to ever to have 8 straight 30 home run, 100 RBI seasons during his era. Yeah, he's a controversial pick due to his kind of controversies he had during his career. But with that being said, the other guy was Mel Harder. And the reasoning for that is he throws hard. So, I mean, he had a really, really hard to hit curveball, but a flaming fastball with excellent control. That kind of seems like the meta to win nowadays in terms of pitching. And so I feel like he'd be an amazing addition for Road to the Show, or not Road to the Show players, for Diamond Dynasty players.
Well, he looks like a Mel. I'm looking at his picture right now. So I mentioned Albert Bell in my list. I have like a vague memory of Albert Bell being in the game at some point. I mean, I guess we can Google it, right? I have it open. I can cut this out if it doesn't go well. Like, there's his card there. Anyone know what happened? Yeah, I don't know. So he was in the game at some point, it appears. Maybe they lost his rights. Maybe something else happened. I don't know. My big pitcher was Cece Sabathia, as you can see in the thumbnail.
Good pick. Yeah.
There's like some pitchers just don't play well in the show for various reasons. I don't know that Cece Sabathia would play well, but I think we need him in the game. So like Pedro Martinez was dominant in real life, didn't really translate well to the show last year. I think Cece Sabathia deserves to be in the show, even if he's not particularly usable with his like pitch arsenal. But yeah. Still think of him as like an Indian and a Brewer before I think about him as a Yankee, even though he was there for the longest. Also, I didn't realize he only played half the season in Milwaukee, Cece Sabathia. That's real shocking to me. I would have bet way over on that.
Kansas City. All right. Well, we could always take the low-hanging fruit of Bo Jackson, but I'll let you talk about Bo. Got 3 different options. I went with 2 legends and one that I personally would love to see in the game. For me, even though he's just fresh off retirement in 2020, I think we need a 2015 postseason Alex Gordon card. His 2015 postseason wasn't amazing, especially coming off of that injury. But what he did in the World Series to help Kansas City win, I think it deserves a moment at least. But going to my real picks, I would say Frank White Jr. He spent 18 seasons with the Royals, 8-time Gold Glover, 5-time All Star. So decent with the bat, but an even better fielder. I think he would be one of those guys you would want to have in your lineup to kind of stand the cheese of the hitting in the show. But then in terms of pitchers, a 15-year vet with the Royals, a Royals lifer, one of the best pitchers in Royals history, who I don't think's ever been in the show. Paul Splitter Oaf, however you would say the name.
Yeah, I was looking. I didn't pick him solely because I didn't know how to say it. But I'm
Yeah,
glad you went
Split.
ambitious on that.
Oh, here we go. Paul Splittorff. I mean, he had a pretty decent arsenal. Nice little fastball, changeup, curveball, where he threw the curveball a little bit more. So nice little addition. I don't think either one of them would be the big massive diamond. I think they would be a collectible reward if you collected the 40-man roster for the Royals.
Yeah.
So like low 90s. But who can you really else choose from the Royals other than obviously Bo Jackson, which I assume you'll probably talk about.
Yeah, so mine was Bo, just because he's such a legendary figure in sports history. I think he deserves to be in the show. I think he'd be cool to be in the show, even if his card isn't particularly good. Like, he was never dominant in the show. He was, like, physically impressive, but he never had a year where it's like, oh my God, he would have 125 contact or 99 contact and 125 power or whatever. He was good. He led the league in strikeouts one year, so I guess that's exciting.
But if they do choose him, I think there's one new addition to the game that we all need, and it is to break your bat after striking out. Like we just need that animation if Bo's in the game.
We need it in we need it on the head too. We need
Yep,
the one where Bo
breaks.
breaks the bat over his head. We need that in the game for sure. We have so much like obnoxious stuff in the game that feels like, I mean, y'all have all seen that video.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the type of home run celebrations we have now in the show?
Yeah.
We can have a bat breaking. MLB isn't gonna look bad for doing it.
Oh, for sure. My other one was Willie Wilson, which
Not a bad
sounds
pick.
like I have a stutter. But he played for the Royals for a while. He had like an all-star. He had some gold glove and some silver slugger in the same year seasons. He got a top 10 in MVP. Was a couple-time all-star. I think he would be a real interesting card in like 1982. The batting average was pretty high. He had some stolen bases. Didn't have a lot of power. Was a real contact guy in the outfield. But as far as like Royals go, there's not many. I mean, that are not in the game, right? You think of like George Brett, Alex Gordon would be a good one this year, like in the future. How do you say what I'm trying to say? There's not a lot of Royals in history that you like need in the game that are not already in the game. Okay, let's do the Twins. So there's a couple elephants in the room. We'll talk about them, but we won't spend a ton of time on them. Maurer and Morneau, kind of what sparked this whole video thing, because the new legend was like teased, I guess would be the word, on the Twitter and Instagram on MLB The Show's social media. So I was like, oh, we should do this video series. And I think Maurer and Morneau are the other ones. Maurer, obviously, one of the best catchers slash first baseman slash DHs of certainly the generation, like of our generation growing up. He was one of the top ones for sure. And then
Mm-hmm.
Morneau as well. Just that duo.
Yeah, no. I mean, you look at the guys who are in the Hall of Fame for the Minnesota Twins, and obviously these guys will be the next ones, in my opinion, to make it to the Hall of Fame. There's not really anybody that stands out that isn't already in the game, and so my two picks were Maurer and Morneau. So kind of nostalgic for me to see him back in the game more than likely, and Maurer I think is one of the few catchers of this last kind of era of guys who've retired that you say, okay, he's going to propel the catching position in Diamond Dynasty.
I would agree 100%. So my other one, just to talk about somebody else, on the Twins, who's actually a Twins lifer, played there 15 years, won a Rookie of the Year. His name is Tony Oliva. And I do not believe he has ever had a card in the game, but he'd be real interesting, right? He's a right fielder, would play the outfield. Outfield is such a saturated position as far as like baseball history goes, because there's like, there's 3 outfielders per every team every year instead of just one catcher or, 1 second baseman or whatever. So there's like plenty to choose from. But he did win Rookie of the Year. He batted over 300 in his career at any era. Being over a 300 hitter is pretty good. He had some pop, over 20 homers a year. Was a pretty good average guy, pretty good on base guy. He had some steals like early in his career. So I think he'd be a very well balanced card if we were to go that route. He's a left-handed outfielder, plays right field. I don't know. I just, if you're not going to talk about Maurer and Morneau at length, we had to add somebody. I think Tony Oliva, one of the better Twins in Minnesota history. Yeah. So
in
speaking
21.
of Tigers, we have one more team, I believe, and that is the Tigers.
Yeah, so for me, we got to get my boy, the Georgia Peach, Ty Cobb, back in the game. I want to say it's been a year or two since Ty Cobb's been in the game. Terrible fielder. So don't play him in center field. Use him as a DH because he committed the most errors in MLB history at like 274 or something like that, playing in the most games ever. So don't play him in the field. But no, 366 career batting average, just under 4,200 hits, just under 2,000 career RBIs, and almost 900 stolen bases in his career. Again, you got to see how I like my teams: contact and speed. Would prefer Ty Cobb to be a good fielder, but the Georgia Peach reference there kind of goes above all that. So Ty Cobb's one for me, and the other, I'm going to go to who Babe Ruth called one of the greatest players he had ever seen play, Charlie Gehringer, the second baseman. 320 career batting average, just under 3,000 career hits, 1,400 RBIs. His nickname was the Mechanical Man. So he was teach tape in terms of being a two-way beast. So he's going to be one of your great fielders, great contact, and solid speed for a left-handed batter. But again, second base is one of those positions that we've had a lot of them. And I've even mentioned a couple more second basemen that need to be in the game. It's hard to get in as a second baseman now with all the crop of second basemen and shortstops and third basemen we got in the game right now. But I think Charlie Gehringer is one that needs to be in the game for the Tigers.
Dude, why does he look so pissed off in his Baseball Reference picture? He looks so mad. I just can't get past that. Yeah, he seems like he'd be a pretty fun card. Another one I had for Detroit, and I'm not going to pull up his Baseball Reference, is Kirk Gibson. I think as far as like all-time Tigers go, he'd be a fun one to have. Not in the game. He'd have multiple, I think, because he'd be like a Dodgers one with like a -20 speed from that home run he hit. Maglio Ordonez. Thinking about it now would be a fun one. Yeah, that's going to do it. AL Central, done. Do you have anything you want to say? We didn't shout out your social media earlier, so if you made it this far, sorry, Justin. Why don't you shout out your...
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram at JArthQB11. You can follow me on Twitter just by searching my name, Justin Arth. And as I am a professional football player, I've got some YouTube vlogs coming soon. So you can follow me on YouTube at Justin Arth as well. So go check me out, support the career, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Yep, all those links will be in the description as well as my Instagram and all that. So we'll catch you guys in the next one here in a couple of days.